Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another recap or another review of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 13, and I believe this is episode 8, and it's called Esopha. I'll have to look it up real quick, because child, the name was weird. Explain. Of course, every episode makes sense for why it's titled that. But Esophagate. Yeah. A play on words. Like the esophagus, Esophagate. Anyway, so before we get into the review though, I do want to state this, and I love Beverly Hills. I love this franchise, and I love what they're doing so far. Yeah, it's been a good season so far. I would say, again, my favorite is definitely Real Housewives of Miami. I want Real Housewives of Potomac to be my favorite, but definitely is not. For those who have seen those reviews, y'all already know how I feel about a lot of things that are going on. The xenophobia of it all. Yeah, it's a little too dark. So hopefully they will turn it around. Because I'm still on the train. I'm not going to hop off the train yet. I at least want to get through. The goal is to get through the whole entire season with the reviews. But if it gets a little too toxic, you already know. But with this, it's kind of like in the middle. Wise as kept, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City is probably the best. I enjoy watching that the most, and I might add that into rotation while I review next time around, because we'll just see. But anyway, we start the episode with Kyle recapping the party with Mauricio again, and it just seems so awkward because her interaction with Mauricio, it just feels so forced. It's pretty. It's cringe. It is cringe, but whenever she's talking to him, she just seems like she doesn't want to be there. And Mauricio's trying to comfort her with what happened, and but he also is asking questions like, "So did you come to my defense when it comes to the questions about my about our marriage?" And she's kind of like, I was like, wow, Kyle seems checked out. And I've heard back and forth of whether you believe her and Mauricio is really going through it or not. I'm from the camp of I actually do believe something definitely is going on, because after being with someone for so long, you're going to have your trials and tribulations. But I think what she shares with us later on this episode, I think that's more of what's going on with her, to be honest. I think the marriage thing is just an icing on the cake and might be more for the show. Maybe because the other things are a little bit more deeper and darker, and I don't think she really wants to open up to the other things that are more deeper and darker. But we'll get more into that. But yeah, it's just an awkward scene. Another awkward scene with Kyle and Mauricio this season. Next, we have Sutton and her team at her store, getting the store ready for the anniversary party that she's going to be throwing. And it's going to be part of basically the plot for this episode. So it's the event for this episode will be Sutton's party. We find out that she's had the store open for 4 years in Beverly Hills, like Beverly Hills proper. And the store's name is Sutton, so it's her store because it's named Sutton. And the grand opening of the store was featured on the show when she first became a housewife on this show. So it's a big deal. It's a pretty big deal. And she's stating how she's just very proud of herself, and she has parlayed this into multiple other businesses that she has for herself, and she's now a businesswoman. And she's narrating all this and discussing all this in her confessional, just, kind of giving herself such huge pat in the back, which I'm sorry, if you don't celebrate yourself, who will? I mean, others sometimes will catch on, but if they don't, at least you're celebrating you. So there's that. Um, but the shady producers asked if she used her spousal support money to help assist with the success of building the store, and she said, "Of course I did." And I was like, I see what they're going with that, because she was kind of just saying that she did all this on her own. It still was on her own. That was money that she was entitled to. She helped build her husband's business, so therefore she should get compensated for help building the business that helped build their lives. I don't think there's anything wrong with it for her saying that she built it on her own, but she still she uses spousal support money. What was she supposed to use that for? Just to sit around and be a housewife? I mean, she could have done that, but she didn't. She parlayed that and flipped it to make it more money. I ain't mad at it. You keep doing you, queen. Keep doing you. Anyway, so then Crystal FaceTimes Sutton and just asking about if she's excited about her party, because she's getting ready for the party at the store. And she's asking if everyone's still invited, because, where we left off, Sutton and Kyle are not getting along at all. That huge blow up was a blow up, and they said a lot of pretty mean things to each other that I don't know. I don't know if it's really going to be coming back from that, but we'll find out. And we find out that Crystal actually, Crystal did show this. I think they did show this on the show, where Crystal did explain to Sutton that Dorit and Kyle have both been talking about Sutton's drinking, and she doesn't appreciate it, because it's insinuating that she has like a drinking problem, like she's an alcoholic. And Sutton states in her confessional, look, this can be a problem because this could affect my businesses, but also can affect my parental arrangement that I have with, my ex-husband, because we now know, and she said in the last episode, her ex-husband's moving to England. And if she isn't together, like, that could mean her kids could end up going to England too. So, yeah, I see where Sutton's coming from, that this can indeed be damaging. And if you're wondering why I'm going down, my cat is literally right here. I'm petting her. But yeah, so it's really damaging, and I see why Sutton's upset about it. But one thing I noticed is for whatever reason, Sutton only is upset with Dorit, but we find out later on why she's only upset with Dorit. Next, Kyle is visited by her therapist and life coach at her place. And it looks like even before the therapist gets there, Kyle's already been crying. Like, her eyes are red. She just doesn't look like she's in a good place. She doesn't look happy. And I'm weirded out by the fact that she already looks like she's not in a happy place before she's being a therapist, because I'm like, the work hasn't been done yet. So I don't know if something else happened before that, but I'm just wondering, did anyone else notice that? Because I definitely noticed that was a thing. But anyway, so she does open up to her therapist right away about her family issues, particularly with Kathy, and the on and off drama that she's had with Kathy for the past 10 years. She's not really talking about the issues that she's had overall, because it's not just a Kathy problem. It's her and her sisters, and the mom. If y'all have read the book, or if y'all have just followed the story from the beginning, it's all toxic. It's just all a hot mess. And even if you guys watch the show that Paris has now, the dynamic it's not the best dynamic, and it's pretty clear. So I will give Kyle her, when she's right, she's right. I can see Kathy being really hard to deal with at times, but if you've been watching the show for the past 13 seasons, y'all already know that Kyle's not the most easiest to deal with either. And even the same thing with Kim and Kim having her substance abuse issues in the past. They're all damaged people and they all have relationships and they've been trying to coexist for years. And it seems like none of the sisters are all on the same page at the same time. Like right now, we're seeing that Kyle and Kim are good, Kim and Kathy are good, but not all three of them are good. And it's a rarity where all three of them are good. So although it's great that I see Kyle with this therapist, I would love for them to all three get into some family counseling because I think that's really what's needed. I think they need to all three get into some family counseling and really have a true mediator on all their issues that they have with each other, because everyone is really, it seems like everyone is going off of their own POV, but not really seeing other people's, they're not seeing each other's side of it all the way, which is hard too when you've been in a relationship, a family dynamic that has not been the best for your whole entire life. So I understand it. But anyway, besides her talking about the sisters, we do find out the real reason why Kyle has really seemed like she's been off is we find out that she lost her best friend. Her best friend unexpectedly ended things here on Earth. Self-inflicted. And trigger warning. Trigger warning. And it came out of the blue. She wasn't expecting it. She wasn't ready for it. No one was ready for it. It just kind of came out of the blue. And we find out that this best friend of hers, Lorraine, she actually has been on the show before. They show a picture of her, show her in a couple scenes throughout the different seasons of the show. And they've been best friends since they were in second grade. And she was super close to her. And to the point where she was in charge of Kyle's will. Which I found very interesting. Your best friend's in charge of your will and not your husband. Interesting. I don't want to judge that, but I do find that interesting. It's just so many little breadcrumbs. I'm just kind of like, But basically, with her best friend being gone, she's lost her safe space. She feels like right now she has no safe space, which explains why she's acting out and literally acting like a teenager and relying so heavy on Morgan and being the way she is more than usual. I feel like Kyle is like being she's teeter-tottering towards the area of being unbearable at times, but also more rational about it. Because it's not really her putting on, it's because she's actually truly going through it, which is relatable and understandable. So I can see why her energy's off. It makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. And I do appreciate that she is sharing this on the show, the loss of her best friend, because that's a huge deal. I don't know how to handle that, to be honest. So I get it. Next, we have this cute little scene with Garcelle. She's having dinner with Jade and Ashlyn, his girlfriend. They are super cute. It's so teenage love. It's so cute. And we and in this scene, it's a very brief scene. We just Garcelle's talking about how different Jax and Jade are. And Jax, she's not as worried about as far as being independent, even though he has his moments of still being a teenager. The way he carries himself is a little bit more mature than Jade. And Jade is definitely more of a 15-year-old, and she does share that, and it's very clear he is, and it's just so cute. I love seeing Garcelle's kids. And we do find out that she absolutely does adore Ashlyn for Jade, but she doesn't want them to grow up too soon. And as far as rushing her being a grandma again. She doesn't want that. And I could tell when she said that, she was kind of alluding to her older son and how that happened. But anyway, but the conclusion of this little mini cute scene is that Jade needs to get off the phone with Ashlyn when she's falling asleep and watch the movies with his mom. Cute, fun scene. Next, we finally get to have like a one-on-one scene with Annemarie. And she's getting the kids ready for breakfast. We find out she has 3 children. They're so cute. They're running around. And then Martellus is Riley. He is there. And he's also getting the children ready as well. And she states in their confessional that they went on their first date. They've been married for 9 years. And when they went on their first date, he stated right away he was going to marry her. And he did everything he needed to do to make sure that got done. And also, we do find out, according to her, that the reason why he loved her and wanted to marry her is because she's an 8 in everything. You know, from a scale of 1 to 10, she's an 8 in everything. 9 when it comes to her body, but like an 8 in everything. And I know she thought that was hitting when she was saying that. But I personally wouldn't like that. I don't want to be rated. Why are you rating me? Why am I being in a rating system? I'm not a thing. I'm a person. I'm sorry, for me, I just didn't find that attractive. And I thought maybe she thought that was an attractive thing. But I was like, if that's the bar for you, you do you. And I mean, I can't speak for it because I'm single. But like, I am wanting to be single. Like, I am very willfully single. So I just don't understand that concept of like, yeah, I'm an 8 and that's why he wants, like, I don't know. It didn't land with me, but anyway, we do see that they both are just getting the kids ready for school. I still don't know how I feel about her as a new housewife, especially towards the end of this episode. I'm still not sure about her because it seems like she just isn't as, I don't know. I feel like I need to put a pin in it and see if I like her or not. And that's kind of always a difficult thing when it comes to newer housewives. But I think the difference is I'm doing my comparison I'm doing actually right now. I'm comparing all the new housewives to Monica from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I love Monica. Monica was just, it seems like she was ready to be on this show. She came right up in there. She's actually was saving one of the people who was saving the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. She's making that show pop. And I think that's a rarity to have a new housewife be able to do what Monica's doing. So I'm trying not to compare all these other new housewives that are on the shows to a Monica because that's not, it's a different kind of bar. So I want to see how I feel about Annemarie, but I'm going to need her to find her own voice when she's with the group and her own personality and her own battles. I'll say that. And you'll find out why I'm saying that later on in this review. Okay, so this next thing, quickest thing ever. Erica FaceTimes her mom and she finds out that she did get, she basically tells her mom that she just signed the deal for her Las Vegas residency and she's going to have 20 shows. And she invites her mom to opening night. That's pretty much it there. Okay, now it is Sutton's event. She's at her store getting ready for her party. That's taking place within the hour. And Avi, I love Avi, by the way. he has literally been, I feel like, in every single episode that Sutton is in, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And then Zach was kind of in the episode a little bit, which is the assistant. But, Avi's a property manager. So he's been in everything. And he's kind of been like the right-hand man for Sutton and getting all these business deals and things together. So they're getting the party together. But anyway, I just wanted to call that out because Avi... See, and I think that's the other reason why I'm kind of like, I don't know how I feel about Annemarie, because Avi has more personality on the screen than Annemarie, and Avi's literally on the screen for a good 2 minutes an episode, and that's it. Tops. And he, to me, is giving more memorable than she is at this moment. I want to give her a chance. So, we'll see. I'm just going to need her to... We'll see. I feel like I'm judging ahead of time, and I don't want to do that, but it's really hard as a viewer to not do that. I just wanted to share that with y'all, and I bet y'all feel the same thing as I do. Like, it's hard to not do that. But anyway, so we have Dorit. We get basically a montage, all the ladies getting ready. Dorit seems to be getting excited about the party, but she doesn't seem to have any anxiety when it comes to this party at all. Dorit, I'm side-eyeing you when it comes to this anxiety of it all. Because it seems like it's only a problem when it's Garcelle. Just saying. It seems like this is only a problem when it's Garcelle. I got my good eye on you, Dorit. Anyway, so Kyle FaceTimes Morgan. And we find out that she invited Kim Richards to the party. So we're going to get another appearance from Kim. I'm excited because for those who don't know, I love me some Kim Richards. And I miss her on the show because she used to be able to get the girls together. And she does definitely give main character energy. She just does. There's just something about her. Anyway, so... while she's talking to Morgan about what's going on, and she basically tells her that she's not excited about going to this event because her and Sutton are still not getting along. But Morgan and her dynamic, even on FaceTime, it's so... I'm still trying to figure it out. I got my eye on that too. Oh, I got a lot of investigating things that I got going on. I'm investigating quite a bit. When it comes to this show. But anyway, so the ladies do start to arrive to the event. Erica and Annemarie first, and then Dorit shows up. We find out in Dorit's confessional that Sutton actually gave her the heads up to let her know that there's going to be 80 people at the event. And part of me's thinking Dorit probably called Sutton to find this out so that she wouldn't get caught on what's going on here. I don't know. I'm still siding Dorit because I don't know. It's just like Dorit picks at things that for no reason, but it's only towards certain people and certain things. So I always look at her funny because of that. And I have a hard time turning it off because she hasn't proved a good reason why she does it. Because also, too, we'll find out later on, Dorit has a horrible... For how much she talks, she does not explain things well at all. And we'll find this out later on this episode. So anyway, Crystal and Garcelle arrive next. Sutton has a tent for all of them because it is raining outside. And Kim and Kyle are last to arrive. And we find out through Kyle, and I kind of had a feeling this was why. Because Kyle just, I don't know. I want to like her and I want to feel bad for her, especially what's going on with her in her real life, clearly. Because 2 of the 3 things is like, yeah, that's really happening. Like her sister thing, definitely happening. Her best friend passing away, yeah, that definitely happened for real. The husband thing's a little questionable, but I feel like that whole thing was questionable for a long time. It's just now surfacing. If that is a thing. Because again, I don't know. It just seems produced. So it's hard for me to believe it all the way. And maybe I'm a jaded person who watches this show. Because this is one of the franchises I actually went back and watched all the seasons and saw how Kyle behaves throughout the seasons. And so it's kind of like hard for me to, I feel for her when it comes to certain things. So I can compartmentalize that. But for other things, I'm looking at her kind of fighting the light. So I'm saying all that because we find out she invited Kim to be petty. She did not invite Kim out of the goodness of her heart. She invited Kim because of the Sutton's comment that she made last week about her losing her sisters. And it's just like, the fact that you do things just for someone's reaction or because someone said something to you and not because you want to, it just gives desperate. It does not give main character energy, and it gives thirst. And I don't understand why someone would do that if they want to be the girl. That's not that girl energy. That girl energy would never. Just saying. So after that, then we see that the interaction between Kyle and Sutton, along with Kim, is so awkward because Sutton immediately, when she sees him, she calls it out. She's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. Because it's so obvious, it's not even like, I feel like in Kyle's mind, she's like, yeah, I'ma show her. And Sutton's like, you didn't show me anything other than like desperate. Like, I think what Kyle thinks she's doing is different from what everyone else in the world sees that she's doing when it comes to things. And that's kind of part of my issue with Kyle. So anyway, after the awkward interaction, Sutton does give a speech to everybody who's there. And it's a very Sutton-esque speech because it's so awkward. And if Sutton's going to give you anything, she's going to give you all the awkward moments. That is Sutton on brand. And she definitely did that. And everyone's kind of looking around confused. And she's like, anyway, toast. So everyone toasts. And then after the speech, Sutton being shady, she's like, I'm going to get my first drink. And, after this, she's like, okay, it's time for me to finally celebrate. Let me get my first drink. And then she makes it known that this is her first drink in front of Kyle and Kim and making a scene out of it, which, girl, you're doing a similar thing as what Kyle just did. Thirst. Why are you doing this? You don't need to do all that for a reaction. So, of course, the party got started because of that. And at first, Kim thought it was directed towards her because I'm just kind of like, Sutton, read the room. Why would you do that with Kim being right there? But I understood that was also why Kyle invited Kim too. That was a double entendre of why she invited Kim. She invited Kim because, for one, that sister comment, but for two, if she gets questioned about that drinking comment that she's made to Sutton doing what she did right there could have came off super insensitive because at first I was like, okay, Kim could have literally taken that away because Kim, we know, has been struggling through her sobriety. So that could have been really triggering to say that in front of Kim. Kim didn't take it that way because I think Kim's like, I am not on this show. I'm not going to engage with these ladies. Like, I think Kim is in such a good place now that she'll never fully engage and be activated like that again, which, thank God, that's great because we don't want that to happen. But that could have been an instance where Kim could have got activated like super quickly. And so I think that was also why Kyle did that. What y'all think? Anyway, immediately when Kim heard what she said, Kim was confused, but then Kim was like, wait a minute. This is totally not about me because I think Kim in a way was like, how did I get it? Now what? How did I get in it? Like, because it literally looked like when Sutton said it the way she said it, it was like, why did Kim have to catch that stray? Because that was literally how Kim was looking like, what did I do to catch this stray? And then poor Kim, for the rest of this interaction, this back and forth, because you know this caused a back and forth between Kyle and Sutton, right? Y'all know that's what happened. But poor Kim the whole entire time is just looking like, why am I here? She literally was given the energy of, why am I here? And so basically, Kyle confronts Sutton right away. Garcelle and Crystal are talking to Erica about how she felt about Denise on the other side of the party, of the store, while this is happening. And Erica's just saying, like, yeah, I was confused. And she almost ruined my high. But then we find out Erica slept for like 14 hours, like, after that party. So she was like, you know, it ended up working out well for me. And Garcelle, for whatever reason, is still super shocked by how Erica just is not reacting. And I'm just like, Garcelle, did you not get the script? This is Erica's redemption season. Nothing is going to get in her way of her doing this redemption season. She is sticking to the script. Nothing's changing it. I need you to get on board too, Garcelle. Y'all know that, you know, that's the reason why she's not going to react. Nothing is going to cause her to react like, you know, like she did before, because she is in the middle of trying to rebrand. That is so clear. I don't understand why Garcelle doesn't understand it. That was confusing to me. But anyway, so while this is happening, back on the other end, we have Kyle trying to blame Sutton for what Garcelle said, because Garcelle said, you know, in the last episode about her new ring, and if this was a apology ring, basically, I'm sorry ring for, like, you know, messing up. And the rest of the ladies start to gather over there, minus Erica and Crystal. They're still, you know, talking amongst themselves. Garcelle, without missing a beat, clears up right away. She's like, no, I'm the one who said that. Sutton said that. And I meant what I said. And then she even clarified further. No, this is exactly what I said. I was like, yes. And so that pretty much kind of stops her from trying to blame, you know, Sutton for what Garcelle said. She was trying to, like, put everything on Sutton, which, again, that tells me that, like, man, like, Sutton, Kyle's not your friend. A friend would never try to put everything on you. But anyway, so after that, Garcelle said something in her confessional that was totally spot on. She was like, it almost, like Garcelle says, it almost seems like Kyle wants us to, like, bring this up, because basically Kyle has yet another ring, a different ring on her ring finger, and this time it's a Tiffany ring. It's a Tiffany true ring, and apparently it's valued between $1,500 to $3,000. And so basically the ring symbolizes the idea of connection, according to Garcelle and Sutton in both their confessionals. It's not a wedding band, though, and they're now questioning, is this maybe for someone else? So it's like, this is why I'm not all the way believing what's going on with Mauricio and Kyle, because it's like, it seems like Kyle is literally planting things for the ladies to talk about. It's starting to seem super overproduced. I'm just saying. Like, if you really didn't want the ladies to continue to question you about this wedding band and all that, then stop putting weird things. Like, why are you doubling down on it then? It's weird. It's weird. But anyway, so The ring. So, okay. Sorry. I got distracted. Because my cat has been here this whole entire time, by the way. But anyway, so Dorit basically tries to assist Kyle with, with the ladies. Because basically now it's Garcelle and Sutton right there, like having each other's back, like Batman and Robin, and like not in an insulting way, in the best way possible. And but it fails. So Dorit gets called out by Sutton for gossiping about her instead. And she told her, like, Crystal told me everything you said about me. And then this is where I figured it out. You know how I mentioned earlier, Sutton's only mad for Dorit? Sutton misunderstood what Crystal said and did not hear that it was Dorit and Kyle. She only heard the Dorit part. And no worries, Crystal's going to clear this up super quickly. Well, quickly on her end, not so quickly when it comes to the whole interaction of it all. And we'll see that soon. And basically, Dorit does go back to where Crystal's at with Erica and confronts her at the other side of the store. So while all this is happening, Sutton and Kyle are still talking, going back and forth. But they finally do apologize to each other. After the back and forth, Kyle and Sutton both apologize. Now, Sutton states in her confessional that although they both apologize, things are not going to be the same again, which I totally get it because they both went really low, below the belt when it came to like their comments and words. So, Sutton said, they're going to be having to kind of really start from scratch when it comes to the friendship. Understandably so. And I'm sure Kyle probably feels the same way. If she really meant that apology. That's a whole nother thing. So anyway. Because we didn't get a confessional from Kyle stating her POV on it. So. But anyway. Back to the other side. Dorit is confronting Crystal in front of Erica and Annemarie. Crystal's confessional this whole entire time narrating this is sending me. She's like, I have never been a victim of this, but now it's my turn. And it is Dorit arguing with you and not making any sense and just going on and on and on. And those shady producers were painting the whole entire picture. It was like people were coming in and out of where they were at. It was just like, it seemed like hours have passed and like Dorit is still not getting to the point, still talking in circles. And then you literally have Crystal stating out loud, oh my gosh, I am tired. And she's literally like, I am tired, like that. And I'm just like, oh my God. And Kim and Garcelle are cracking up. Because she's like, I am bored. What's happening? Basically, Crystal does clear it up once she's able to talk with all the ladies there. Mainly is talking to Sutton and what exactly was said. She said that it was both Dorit and Kyle that was talking about her drinking. And then Annemarie out of nowhere chimes in randomly and ask about Sutton's medicine that she takes for her neuropathy, and then she does it more than once. She gives unsolicited medical advice on that, and then while this is happening, randomly, actually, which was kind of interesting, Erica actually defends Sutton at this moment. So, because according to Sutton, her doctor says she's okay to drink with her medication. And Annemarie's like, no, you shouldn't be drinking with your medication. And then Sutton just kept saying, are you my doctor? Are you my doctor? Which is that? And it was so weird. And then Erica's like, please, I drink with my medicine all the time. Like, it is what it is. And then everyone chimes in like, oh yeah, we know. Because because Erica's blaming her bad behavior on last season for that. So it was kind of a callback. But the point still remains. And then while this back and forth is happening, Kyle's pretending to put on makeup, but then she's actually whispering to Annemarie, like, and the esophagus. What about the esophagus? And it's just like, Kyle. And this is why I can't believe everything or anything that Kyle says or does on the show, because she overproduces. And this is another case of her overproducing a moment that shouldn't even be a moment, because, mind you, all this stuff is happening at Sutton's event. So the fact that this lady has the gall, who doesn't know her from a can of paint, giving her unsolicited medical advice, not once but twice, because she does it again with this esophagus piece, saying like maybe she should chew her food and all that better. It's just like, she doesn't know you. And she was like, thank you for the medical advice, doctor. That's what Sutton said, like being very condescending. And of course, Annemarie caught that. She's like, oh, wow, that was condescending. She's like, and just ignored her and kept it pushing. I was like, and there's that. Because Annemarie, and this is why I don't like it, and it's not just her, it's a lot of newer housewives looking for a moment. I feel like this was a case of her looking for a moment, and she didn't get what she thought she was going to get. Because Sutton's a shade assassin, unbeknownst to a lot of people. It's not as direct as like a Kenya Moore, but Sutton can shade you too. Like, especially if she doesn't know you. Really, Sutton really only seems to stumble when you come at her confrontationally. But one thing I will call out that I did not like is she kept saying to Annemarie, don't yell at her. Annemarie was not yelling at her. She was just being very direct. But her voice was slightly elevated, but I wouldn't say yelling. I would have been like, you need to bring your elevated voice down because I'm right here. But that was the only critique, because you got to tread lightly when it comes to, like, you know, saying someone's yelling when they're not really yelling. Because she wasn't really yelling. She just was, her voice was elevated. So I was like, hey, bring that voice down and stop giving me unsolicited medical advice. Thank you. I mean, honestly, for me, I would just like cut her off real quick on all that. It's like, okay, thank you, but you're not my doctor, and you can stop giving me unsolicited medical advice. Thank you. It would have been that simple. But anyway, that's kind of the other reason I'm not sure how I feel about Annemarie, because outside of this little scene that she made it a thing, I didn't even know she was there the whole entire episode. Like, she was there, but like I didn't know she was there other than this piece and this bit. And the only thing you're really doing is you're doing Kyle's bidding after basically you already got an apology from, I mean, you already got the, like, you and Sutton already settled things, Kyle. So Kyle and Sutton already settled things, so why are you still letting this, you have another minion? It's coming off like that. And it's just like, Annemarie, I'm going to need you to find your own space and lane within this group. And then maybe that way I can give you a real chance at knowing if I like you as part of this group or not. And not to call back at Potomac, but that's kind of one of the reasons why I don't like Nneka, because she chose a side so quickly. It's like, you need to, like, that's kind of like rules 101 of Real Housewives. If you're going to be new, going to already established cast, you just, whoever introduced you, it doesn't matter, because half the time people who introduce you don't really know you in real life. You still just need to carve your own path. Make your own decisions on who you like and who you don't like. You can't just be up someone else's, you know what, throughout the whole entire show. Like, that's wild. And I'm hoping she does get out of that and you know, allow space for herself to make determinations. But also another thing, because of people that are new doing that, they come off overly hot. And I would say the first episode, it wasn't so bad where she was introduced. Second episode, she didn't really give anything. And now this episode, she's not really giving anything outside the fact that she's coming off super annoying. At least for me. And I don't think it would even matter if she was attacking someone or coming at someone who I didn't really care for. It's just more or less like, you just got here. You barely go here now, so why are you all up in the business? Like, I wouldn't appreciate some random stranger coming up to me giving me medical advice. I don't care if you're a doctor or not. I don't know you. Did I pay for your services? And side note, Sutton was like, should I give you my insurance card next time? I was like, and then Erica after this was like, okay, so she's like, I'll just let you know when I get my esophagus stretched, because she said it's hereditary, so her brother has the same thing too, and he gets his esophagus stretched, but she just never did do that. And then she's like, should I just invite you all for when that happens? And then after that, Erica jokes like, well, maybe, you know what also stretches out your esophagus? PJs. And y'all know what that is. And so Erica in the confessional does joke and say like, okay, well, we know what is causing Sutton to not get a second date. It's because she doesn't know how to well deep. Y'all got the drift. And she's like, it's not her random behavior. It's not the cat sweaters. It's that. I've solved the mystery of the lack of a second date. And I chuckled a little bit. Erica with the confessional, she has been bringing it. Even though I don't care for her, she has been bringing it with the jokes and the comedy. So I'm with it. Anyway, so the ladies, so they close that off, and the episode concludes with basically the ladies giving Sutton her props, and they all do a cheers one more time because they're like, okay, let's just drop this. This isn't that of value. And then also each lady states in their confessionals why this is such a big deal for Sutton and that this is huge. Like Kyle states like, hey, I actually had to close my clothing store in Beverly Hills because the rent was so high. So it's amazing she's doing what she's doing. Erica saying, hey, with the money that she gets from her husband, most people just be kind of just chilling. And the fact that she's hustling, she respects it. Like the people that you would think that would not give her props are all giving her props in the confessional. So that was really nice to see at the end of the episode. And then we conclude with Sutton basically staying in her POV in the confessional that this is the end of a chapter for her because now with her ex-husband moving to England, she really is truly on her own now because we didn't know this, but behind the scenes, I guess in her real life, if things were going left or just not going right, she kind of always had him in the back of her pocket where she could kind of reach out to him still. Because apparently it was amicable enough where she really had to reach out, she could. So there was that. But now she's going to be truly on her own. And she states that with the ladies. And Erica states like, hey, I get that. And basically kind of gives her some nice advice. And that's what's the difference between this show that I like versus some of the other shows, particularly Potomac. Erica and Sutton don't like each other. But they can be cordial, they can have a conversation, and they can give each other props and lift each other up when need be. Because at the end of the day, this is a reality show you're on. And you're at work, essentially. So you need to put your personal business aside and be able to move along, because when you can't move along and you hold on to grudges on the show, it makes the show actually unwatchable. I know in real life, that's another thing. Because in real life, yeah, if I don't like someone, I ain't talking to them. But also the same thing happens in real life. In real life, you have people that you work with that you don't care for, but you have to still talk to them and deal with them. So it's still a duality even in real life, right? But anyway, that's where the episode ends. And after that, the mid-season trailer came through, and that mid-season's trailer looks good. It looks like they're going to Spain in mid-season trailer. I do still want to see what Annemarie brings. But yeah, I think they're doing okay so far. It's not as climactic as I thought it would be. But also my expectations wasn't super high. But it's not bad. But anyway, that does conclude the review for today. I know my hair is all over the place right now. I saw this. I have like the split. I really need to get my hair trimmed because I have a split end that's just being annoying. But anyway, that does conclude the video for today. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you get anything out of the content, it's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And I will see you next time. Bye.